Okay, so good afternoon again, everybody. Today we've look at the video of the grammar that you learned to actually review and learn more about the present perfect simple and present perfect continuous and passive voice. Okay, all right. So please look at it. Okay, so these are the references of the video lessons that I actually took from. Okay, please check this. Okay, all right. Okay, so now let's watch the video, everyone. Let's start. Okay.
Hello everyone, you're back with me at AngloLink. This is the third video in our Learning the Tenses series. If you haven't watched the first two videos, you may want to go and watch them first. In this third video, I'm going to help you understand the differences between present perfect continuous, I have been doing, and present perfect simple, I have done. When you're ready, we can get started. Right then, present perfect continuous and present perfect. Let's look at the formulation of the two tenses. In the previous video, we looked at how to formulate present perfect continuous. Let's remind you, I have been playing tennis. So the verb to be conjugated in the present perfect and then the main verb with ing. You have been playing tennis. He, she has been playing. We, you, and they have been playing. Let's look at present perfect. No continuous, so it's just the verb have and the participle. I have played tennis. Easy. You have played tennis. He, she has played. We, you, and they have played. Right, let's look at usage. First, a reminder on when we use the present perfect continuous. Action that started in the past and is still in progress. For example, I've been studying all morning. I've been doing the exercises since 11 o'clock. He has been driving for 5 hours. Let's look at some examples of the present perfect and how they're different from the ones you've just looked at. So, the present perfect refers to a completed action, an action that's complete at the time of speaking. It's not going on anymore. Look at the first example. I've studied 3 sections until now. Let's look at the two sentences together. So, I've been studying all morning. That means you started this morning and you're still studying. Within this time, you have completed, you have finished 3 sections. Now, this is present perfect. I've studied 3 sections until now. Next example. I've already done half of the exercises. Let's look at the present perfect continuous. I've been doing the exercises since 11. So you started at 11 and you're still doing the exercises. But within this time, you have already finished half of them. Present perfect. I've already done half of the exercises. And the last example, he has driven 500 kilometers so far. Look at the continuous form. He has been driving for 5 hours. He is still driving. Within this time, he has completed 500 kilometers of driving. By the way, so far is a synonym for until now. Let's look at the timelines now to make it perfectly clear for you what the differences between the two tenses are. Right, here's the timeline for present perfect continuous. An action that started in the past, has been going on until now, is still going on, and will go on for a while. Remember that you can refer to this tense with these two words, since and for. Since indicates the exact time that the action started in the past, and for tells us how long the action has been going on. Let's have a look at the timeline for the present perfect, and you will see that it will look very, very different. Here's an action that happened in the past. It's a completed action at some point in the past. We don't know exactly when, or we don't want to say exactly when. What's important is that the action is complete now, at the time of speaking. Right then, let's look at some common mistakes. You may say or hear, I have waited for half an hour. Because you're still waiting, the action is still going on, you should use the present perfect continuous. I have been waiting for half an hour. The action is not complete yet. Let's look at another example. You may hear or say, he has slept since 9 o'clock. Once again, because the action is going on, is still in progress, he is still sleeping, we should be using the present perfect continuous. He has been sleeping since 9 o'clock. Sometimes you may make the reverse mistake. For example, you may hear or say, it has been snowing twice this week. Now, the word twice, or means 2 times, indicates 2 finished, completed actions. It snowed once, stopped. It snowed again and stopped. It's not snowing at the moment. Therefore, we need to use the present perfect. It has snowed twice this week. One last example to make sure you've really got the difference between these two. You may say, she has been writing many books. It's okay to say she has been writing for many years. She is a writer. But to say the number of books she has already written, referring to completed books, you need to use the present perfect. She has written many books. Right, that's it for our 3rd video. I hope you have found it useful. As you know, you can now go to our website, anglolink.com, to read the explanations and do the exercises that will help you review this point. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now! Hello and welcome everyone, this is Minu at AngloLink. Today we're going to look at the passive voice in English. First, we'll have a look at when we use the passive voice, and then we'll have a look at how to formulate passive sentences. There's a part 2 as well, where I have prepared some exercises for you. In order to get good at using the passive voice, you need a good mastery of all the English tenses. So if you have any doubts about any of the tenses, I would recommend that you watch my video called All Tenses First and do the exercises that go with that video, and then return to this one to learn the passive voice with me. By the end of this lesson, you'll have a good understanding of when to use the passive voice and how to formulate passive sentences. Right then, when you're ready, we can begin. The passive voice. What is the passive voice? A sentence generally begins with the performer of the action, which is the subject, then the verb, then the object or person that the action is performed on. This is called an active sentence. For example, the subject is John, the verb is cleaned, and the object is the room. Now, if we begin the sentence with the object or person that the action is performed on, we formulate a passive sentence. So, starting with the object, the room, then adding the verb, was cleaned, and if we want to add the person, the subject, we can use by. The room was cleaned by John. Note that not all verbs in English take an object. Therefore, some sentences are complete without an object. For example, John slept well, or John lives far away. This type of sentence cannot be changed into the passive voice. Right, let's have a look at when we should use the passive voice. There are two main cases. Firstly, when we do not know who the subject is, or it's not important who the subject is. For example, somebody cleaned the room. The room was clean. Or when it is obvious to the listener or reader who the subject is, because it is the person who usually does it. The cleaner cleaned the room. The room was cleaned. Let's have a look at how we formulate the passive voice. There are 3 steps. First of all, put the object of the verb at the beginning of your sentence. Then, conjugate the verb to be in the same tense as the active sentence. And finally, put the main verb in the past participle form. For example, the active sentence is the postman delivers the mail. Get rid of the subject. Put the object at the beginning of your sentence. Conjugate the verb to be in the present simple tense, is, and put the main verb in its participle form, delivered. Let's look at another example. The decorator is painting my room. Here's the active sentence. Get rid of the subject. Put the object at the beginning. The tense is present continuous, so conjugate the verb to be in the present continuous tense, is being, and change to painted. My room is being painted. One more example. Someone stole the money. Get rid of the subject. Put the object at the beginning, the money. Conjugate the verb to be in the past simple tense, was, and change stole to the past participle form, stolen. The money was stolen. A few notes. First note, if you want to mention the subject in a passive sentence, use by. My room is being painted by the decorator. Note 2. If the active sentence begins with no one or nobody, the passive sentence will be negative. For example, no one turned on the light. The light was not turned on. And the final note, if there is a preposition between the verb and the object, the preposition will remain after the verb. For example, they talked about the issue. The issue was talked about. Okay, let's have a look at the passive voice of different tenses. Present simple. Active, I do it. Passive, it's done. Past simple, I did it. It was done. Future simple, I will do it. It will be done. Present continuous, I am doing it. It is being done. Past continuous, I was doing it. It was being done. Future continuous, I will be doing it. It will be being done. Present perfect, I have done it. It has been done. Past perfect, I had done it. It had been done. Future perfect, I will have done it. It will have been done. Present perfect continuous, I have been doing it. Not common. In fact, perfect continuous tenses are very uncommon in the passive voice. So, like present perfect continuous, we don't put past perfect continuous, I had been doing it, or future perfect continuous, I will have been doing it, in the passive voice. Keep these sentences to their active form. Right, let's look at a couple of other structures in the passive. In structures containing the infinitive, do, the passive is simply be done. For example, be going to, I am going to do it, changes into, it is going to be done. Have to, I have to do it, changes into, it has to be done. Used to, I used to do it, it used to be done. And modal verbs like can and may, with infinitive without to, I can do it, it can be done. And the final structure, in expressions containing the gerund, doing, the passive voice is with being done. Let's look at a couple of examples. Avoid. I avoid seeing him. The passive form would be he avoids being seen. Or, with the expression I don't mind, in the active form, I don't mind teaching her. In the passive form, she doesn't mind being taught. Right, let's look at a person in the object position. We can also formulate passive sentences with a person in the object position. For example, somebody pushed me. You can say, I was pushed. They have invited us. We have been invited. Someone was interviewing Jane. Jane was being interviewed. Some sentences have both an object and a person in the object position. You can choose either one to formulate the passive sentence. For example, someone handed me a note. You could say, I was handed a note, or a note was handed to me. Another example, they have sent us a copy. We have been sent a copy, or a copy has been sent to us. Okay, it's time to look at some common mistakes. There are 4 common mistakes. The first one is changing the tense to similar tense. For example, someone has reported the incidents. This is present perfect. It is a common mistake to say the incidents were reported, changing it to the past simple. Keep it to the same tense, present perfect. The incidents have been reported. Or among future tenses, for example, the active sentence is, they are going to build a church. And you may hear, a church will be built. Once again, the tense has been changed from going to will. Try and avoid that. A church is going to be built. Let's look at the second common mistake, which is forgetting the verb to be. Someone has reported the incidents. You may hear, the incidents have reported. The verb to be is missing. Let's add it. The incidents have been reported. They're going to build a church. A church is going to be built. The verb to be is missing. A church is going to be built. Moving on to the third common mistake, and that is using the present participle instead of the past participle. Someone has reported the incidents. The incidents have been not reporting, but reported. Or they're going to build a church. A church is going to be not building, but built. And finally, the fourth common mistake is confusing the plural and singular verbs or subjects. For example, someone has reported the incidents. Here, someone is singular, so the verb is has reported, whereas the incidents is plural, so you must say the incidents have been reported. Vice versa, they're going to build a church. A church, not are going to be built, because a church is singular, so a church is going to be built. Right then, that's the end of the lesson on the passive voice. I hope you've enjoyed it. As I said in the introduction, I have prepared an exercise video for you. If you'd like to practice what you've just learned, just click on the video. And as you know, there are also explanations and exercises on our website anglolink.com. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye now.
Alright, so this is the end of the video about the present perfect simple and present perfect continuous, and also about the passive voice. I hope you understand your lessons very well. And please, if you have any questions, please send your questions to the messenger group, or you can actually send to my private messengers. ចឹងបើសិនជាបងប្អូនមានចម្ងល់អីបងប្អូនអាច chat សួរគ្រូបានណាកុំខ្លាចចិត្តហើយកុំវិញរាព្រោះយើងរៀនធម្មតាមានចម្ងល់ណាបាទហើយគ្រូតនេគ្រូមើលឃើញគ្រូនឹងឆ្លើយតបវិញពេលខ្លះរៀនយូរបន្តិចដោយសារ thầm ra mình thà online là hốt mới có thà thở đời chat phục về đây từ miền tây á mà ở con tràn xong giờ chụp á hay xong chỉ riêng mình thành tiền ở con tràn mà thank you very much everyone goodbye